Good morning. On this week's episode of The Professor Helps, I'm going to talk to you about how two things can be true at the same time. So, first, I'm going to start with the biggest one. You can be actively working towards becoming an anti-racist and say something that's racist. I'm not going to go into the details because the person I did this with, I apologized, I cleaned it up. It's not about me. The biggest thing is that you can have the intention to be anti-racist. You can do a lot of things right. And then you say something, you weren't thinking about it, and it was a very racist thing to say. You can also have many interactions with a person that are great and wonderful, and you say exactly the right thing at exactly the right time. You comfort them. You're an excellent, monumentally thoughtful friend. And you can also say something really thoughtless and not helpful. And both of those things can be true. And I think that it's important to look at that because what we spend a lot of time doing is, well, I'm a good person, so I said the right thing and I did the right thing. And then this other thing, we shouldn't even think about that. It's like, no, both of those things deserve weight. When you are talking about something that you did to another person, you have to be responsible for how they took what you said. So it goes back to impact will beat intention every single time. And it's true. So while you can be somebody who strives to be a really good parent and read the books and do a lot of the things it takes, it's all a training ground. And you are going to say things to your kids that you don't think are good later, or in the moment you do it and you say, oh, I cannot believe I just said that. I sound just like my mom. I sound just like my dad. Speaking of parents and childhood trauma, your parents can have done the very best that they could, the very best job that they could do, and they could still have been very wounding and toxic to you. And I think that that's the message I want to talk about today, is that both things can be true. It can be for things that aren't as vital as that either. It could be that you are the best person for the job. You're the most qualified, you've got the most experience, and you can still not get the job. Even though you are the most qualified, even though you have everything that they're looking for, you don't get that job. And it's because you're not the right fit, or there's something that you're supposed to do instead. You can be the best person for the job. You can do everything right and still lose the job because you can't foresee a global pandemic on the horizon. So you don't know that you're going to lose your job. And I think the biggest takeaway for me this week has been looking and saying, oh, okay, so while this is true, this is also true. So you can be somebody who is an excellent friend and screw up and say the wrong thing. You can also be somebody who strives to be a very good wife and mother. And then you can also be mean-spirited or petty or small, because we're all human. It would be way easier if we were aliens and we could just, block it all out and just say, okay, I'm not going to have any emotions about that. I'm just going to keep pushing forward. And it doesn't work that way. And so I think a big thing to do is to give yourself grace, speak up when you mess up, and then clean it up. So I think one of the biggest things that I do when I put this message out is once a week, I want to give you a dose of motivation, inspiration, and sometimes frustration. And I do a weekly message, not because I have this on lockdown, but because I hope that something I say inspires you to live your best life. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is The Professor Helps, and this is The Professor, signing off.